Hello one and all, my name is Ryan Bruce, my friends call me Fluff, and today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, I do a mix breakdown of the song Touch Dirt by The Undertaking. Okay, so I thought we would have a little fun and go over another mix that I have recently done by the band The Undertaking for their song Touch Dirt. This song was honestly so much fun and one of my favorite songs ever to mix. It's just the energy level stays basically at 10 the whole time. It was a lot of fun. I reamped the guitar tones, I mixed and I mastered it. Now this is my original mix project. This is not the mastered version. I do that in a separate project with a stereo wave file, a bounce, but this is my mix that I did. Let's play a little bit of it first, and then we're going to dive into the actual song. Here we go. So much fun. Whew. These guys are from San Diego. You should go see a show. If you see them playing around, definitely go check them out live because they're even more bonkers live. So, Tubus, what are we hearing everything through? I don't remember why I have Golfoss on here. Golfoss isn't actually doing basically anything, I don't think. It's not really doing anything. I can't remember why I specifically have that on there. I have a hardware instance of my West Audio Dion, which is basically like an SSL compressor. It's not doing a ton. Followed by a Pro multiband from FabFilter. Again, this is just keeping frequencies in check. That's all this is doing. This is my global EQ. Again, not doing too much. I'm adding a little bit of top end, cutting off the lowest lows and dipping a little bit of the mid-range. Just a tiny bit at 500. Basically not even a dB. Then I have another hardware insert for my Rupert Neve Master Bus Transformer, which is adding some saturation, some global saturation, the red and blue silk. And then I have another hardware instance of my SPL Big, which is I'm widening just a tiny little bit. And then finally, Flatline and Soothe. Flatline, I don't recall doing much here. I don't think this is doing much. Let's see. Flatline 2 is basically catching the errant transient from the snare. I thought, you have to read the room when it comes to mixing. And for me, this really came down to, you do not need to crush a song or a band like this, right? All of the dynamic control you need to be doing at the instrument level and the bus level, not the global level. It's just, it sounded weird. I don't want to crush it, so I didn't. And then Soothe. Soothe is typically something, I don't know, it just depends, case by case basis for me. that last little polish, but that's what we were listening to everything through. Okay, so let's get to the drums. Drum master sounds like this. On my drum bus, I always have a hardware instance of an API 2500 plus. I cannot do drums without this compressor. It's just perfect. It's so good. It's so good. I have a little bit of saturation going via the soft tube saturation knob. This is a free plugin. Anyone can get that. And then I have some Shep's parallel particles. I'm adding a little bit of low lows and a little bit of thickness and a little bit of bite is all I'm doing. Now for the actual drums, I saw some comments in my last mix breakdown video. You replaced everything. It was a flavor call, right? You got to read the room for what kind of song and what the band are going for. To that degree, this does not require that. However, let's listen to the snare. There is real top and bottom snare layered in with a sample right here. Now, the sample is cranked. However, you still have to have, especially with a drummer like Brent, you still have to have the real thing in there because there's a lot of nuance. There's some ghost notes, and there's even like a tapping part that's later on leading into the bridge. Okay, so here's the actual snare track. You can hear some of the kick kind of still bleeding through, which is whatever, it's fine. I'm using Black Salt Audio silencer. I'm then coming in with an E channel, SSL E channel. I'm adding a lot of 200 and a lot of low. I'm trying to get some body out of the snare, which is ultimately why I also went to the sample. And then an 1176. Now let's hear this without the drum sample. I like the attack of the drum. I like overall how the drum sounds. It just needs to sound, it needs to have a ton of body. So to that end, I'm then introducing the sample to kind of make up for the body, but I'm making sure to tune it correctly. So here's how it sounds. I will add it in halfway through. I love how the drums turned out. Let's go to a different part. Okay, so I mentioned the band recorded their own drums. I didn't think the toms sounded particularly good. Sorry, guys. But we kind of knew that going into it, and that was totally fine. So what they did do is they gave me trigger information, MIDI information, so I knew exactly where the hits were for the toms, and I was able to just replace the toms. I replaced them because it just sounded better. Also, time was kind of an issue, and are you gonna spend a week on toms? No, you're not. To that end, I don't remember what I used. Gojira, Mario Duplantier toms, that's what I used. And I think they sound awesome. Now with the snare, I did get MIDI information. I didn't use it. Didn't feel like I needed to. For me, I kind of like I love having the MIDI information from the triggers, but I use that as kind of on a as needed basis, okay? But I'm really happy with how the kit turns out. This is the overheads. Pretty simple stuff. 1176, kind of taking out the kick. It's basically all I'm doing. The rooms. Now the bass guitar was a printed MIDI bass DI and the actual bass tone that the band liked. So I worked with it and also used the DI to add some clank via the SVT suite. And basically I'm doing some low end control, adding some top end. I actually, in this instance, I have it going to a G comp to compress, a hardware G comp, 500 series G comp. Black Salt Audio low control. And then I'm coming in with the limiter. And like always, I'm using Soothe 2, two instances, one to sidechain to the kick drum and another to sidechain to the snare drum. And that way the bass kind of ducks just for the moment that the initial fundamental of the drum shells hit. All right, next, let's move on to rhythm guitars. The rhythm guitars for this song were my Mesa Boogie JP2C. I used the amplified instrument processor by Corniff Audio, always. I'm using this to remove the ring at about 4K, and I'm using full octave range, second, third order. Then I'm coming in with some EQ, some carving. I'm boosting a little bit of top. I'm taking some of the honkiness away, and I'm also adding some low end to the guitars themselves. I'm then coming in with a little bit of compression. I just liked how this sounded. I don't recall doing much compression. Let's listen. Okay, so I'm using it to control the palm mutes. Next, I'm coming in with the Corniff Audio L1 limiter, again, to control the palm mutes, because it was really important that the toms cut through on this part musically. Let's listen to this actual part, full band. Okay, it's important to keep all the things intact and present. Lastly, I'm coming in with an instance of Soothe 2 and then soft tube tape, just to kind of warm it up a little bit. And that's literally the guitars, the isolated guitars. Let's move on to a different part of the song. I want to actually kind of focus in on the bridge section because I thought this was just really cool. This was a really cool part of the song because I basically had to automate the Black Salt Audio silencer, the drum gate, off because Brent starts doing a thing on his sticks. Let's listen to the drums. So you'll notice the vocal is not super layered throughout the entire song. It's actually fairly sparse, and that is such a vibe, and I love it. Let's go to the vocal. So we have a vocal main, and then we have a vocal low, and then some clean backup stuff. For the main vocals, I think I did pretty much the same thing. I did an 1176. I did Vocal Strip 2 SSL. I love this plugin because I will always, as a starting point, come to the Rock Mail preset, but I will turn off the compander, all the compression and stuff. I let the 1176 do that, but I let this plugin do all of the de-essing and the deplosiving, followed by some EQ if needed. Just depends on the actual track, obviously. Next, coming in with Decapitator to kind of dirty it up a little bit. And it's going to the bus where I am using a little bit of Voca. That's basically it. Some reverb.
Before I could say it all! Don't you know that life's not fair? You left before I could say it all! Let me say it all! Don't you know that life's not fair? Life's not fair! You left before I could say it all! Let me say it all! Don't you know that life's not fair? Don't cry victory!
So great. So I have everything bussed up to an instrument master so I can kind of turn the entire band down independent of the vocal. On this bus, I have the newfangled Saturate, which is incredible, just saturation. Some global EQ. And again, this is not affecting the vocal. This is just affecting everything but the vocals. I have a Pultec, adding some low end. And then I have my hardware insert for the West Audio Verimu tube compressor. Let's look at that. On the master vocal bus, I have everything on a bus.
Before I could say it all!
And I want to point out that on the instrument master, I am sidechaining the vocals to the instrument bus using Soothe 2, and I am dipping the vocal fundamentals on the band bus itself. Does that make sense? So I'm making a pocket for the vocals to kind of sit and tuck in with the band as opposed to being on top of.
Before I could say it all! Let me say it all! Don't you know that life's not fair? You left before I could say it all! No shadow giving it for you! Blood stain on your door! Dries cold! Before my tears touch dirt!
All I'm doing on the master vocal bus is I am adding A little bit of multi-band compression to keep everything just kind of level and in check. I have a hardware instance of a Fatso saturation. That's a hardware unit in my rack. And then I want to give a little bit of width. I don't want, since the vocals aren't super layered, I don't want the vocal to be a laser down the center channel. I want a little bit of width, and to that end, I'm using JST Side Widener 2 to just give it a little bit of spread and width. And that is basically it. Total track count was 71 tracks, pretty sparse for a modern day track. All of the energy is just in every single track. Like, they spared no amount of energy for anything when tracking, and I think that really comes through in the actual recording. I will link down below in the description if you would like to know more about all things Undertaking and to check out this song for yourself over on Spotify and Apple Music and all the other platforms. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.